You're listening to the Weekend Sport Podcast with Jason Pine from News Talk ZB.
And so to the ASB, in fact, they've just lost a third wicket. Just as I speak, they've just lost a third wicket. Sam Constas is out. So in further trouble now, Australia. 35 for 3. More details on that coming up. To the tennis, ASB Tennis Classic top seed, Madison Keys, knocked out by 5th seed, Clara Towson, in the quarterfinals a short time ago. The Danish 5th seed held her nerve in a second set tiebreak for a 6-4, 7-6 win. She will play American Robin Montgomery in the first semi from 3 this afternoon. It also means Towson could play 3 times today. She's had her quarterfinal, she's got the semi-final, and she's also in the semi-finals of the doubles. It's a busy old day for her. Americans Katie Volinets and Alicia Parks currently playing the last of the singles quarterfinals before the semis a bit later on. You can watch ASB Classic Women's semi-finals live on Sky Sport 1 and stream on Sky Sport Now from around 2:45 this afternoon. And Sky Open will also have free-to-air coverage of the first semi-final from 3 this afternoon. Let's bring in former New Zealand Davis Cup representative, director of the Lavie Tennis Academy and expert analyst during Sky Sports coverage of not only the women's tournament but the men's tournament to follow, Sebastian Lavie. Sebastian, thanks for taking the time. The last of the quarterfinals, let's go there. Alicia Parks, Katie Volinets. Can you compare and contrast these two players for us?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, look, first of all, I think the tournament so far has been really entertaining. I think obviously there's a lot of big seeds up front, former Grand Slam champions. They got knocked out quite early, so it really opened up for a few other players who often don't get the chance to play in a semi-final or a quarter-final of this level. I've really enjoyed watching both Volinets and Parks, actually. They bring very different game styles. Volinets is much more of an energetic counter-puncher type of player, and Parks is really a big, powerful server and is trying to take her initiative as soon as she can. So I think it'll be a really interesting matchup. It's very hard to pick. I think that Parks has probably got a little bit too much firepower if she is firing, but Volinets has just been really, really relentless on everything. It'll be really interesting to see how this goes.
You mentioned the fact that we lost a few of the bigger names earlier in the week. We almost lost Naomi Osaka yesterday too, didn't we? She was a set down, came back to beat Hailey Baptiste 6-7, 6-1, 6-2. How have you assessed her performances across the week?
Look, I think she's actually been performing really well. She obviously hasn't played a lot of tennis in the last few years. This is her first match since September, so for her to come through 3 rounds against some tricky opponents that weren't necessarily the highest ranked, but they're still players who have some matches under the belt is always a good feeling. I think the first set of the tournament she played exceptionally well, really set a high standard of play, and then she's been able to get through the next ones. I think the first set against Baptiste probably had a few too many errors in it. Baptiste has got a really difficult game style, was able to mix it up with some slices and hit a few great passing shots, but then she recovered really well and was playing really well at the end, and I know she was stoked with that win as well.
We know less, I guess, about Robin Montgomery, the US left-hander, currently ranked outside the top 100 in the world. What have you liked about her? Tell us a bit about her game.
Yeah, look, I think we're going to see plenty more of her in the future. She's a real big hope for American tennis. She's a huge left-handed serve. She can swing it left-right. She can do anything with it. And she's got a really good head on her shoulders. So I think she's going to be potentially a top 50 player by the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if she's in the top 20 in the next year. So again, it's another player that we're able to see before they make it. I think Auckland has a tendency of really finding these stars before they become stars. So I've been really enjoying her match. I think that whoever she plays later on will be really interesting. Surely
Osaka and Montgomery would be favourites for the semi-finals, given the fact, Sebastian, they haven't had to play today. The rain delay helps them, doesn't it?
It definitely does. It definitely does. Having said that, if those players manage to get their matches done reasonably quickly, they might not have too much tennis in their legs. Sometimes playing in the conditions on the day, if it doesn't get you too tired, is actually an advantage. So, look, I would say in theory they should have an advantage, but it doesn't necessarily mean so. The other players will have to be waiting around all day. Hopefully we don't get too many showers coming through today, but it could be a long day. So, look, it's really anyone's match. I think at the end of the day it will just come down to those who really compete the best and able to play good tennis and big points.
How much of a disappointment was it to see Lulu Sun eliminated so early?
Mm-hmm. Look, I think as a Kiwi, obviously would have loved to see her play more on the centre court. I know that she's obviously had an incredible year last year. She's had some big performances, but the reality of tennis is you don't win every week. Obviously, we've seen her quarterfinal run at Wimbledon. We've also seen some other big results she's had. But the rest of the year, players do end up losing a lot of matches first and second round. So it's not incredibly surprising, but obviously, as a Kiwi and as a real marquee player for the event, I would have loved to see her go far.
Do you still predict that she will have a big 2025? Even given what you've said, you're right. You don't win every week, but have you seen enough from Lulu Sun over the last 12 months or so? Let's not forget she was only a qualifier here last year. Have you seen enough from her to suggest that she has more gas in the tank in the next few years?
100%. I mean, look, she's got a really big game style. She can hit a powerful ball, so she can out-hit a lot of players on tour. Again, at the end of the day, the way the ranking system works is you don't have to win matches every week. You just have to really peak at the big ones. She's going to have a lot of points to defend at Wimbledon, but she's got plenty of time until then to really rack up the points. She'll be playing the Master Series now. She'll be getting a lot of opportunities to compete against higher-ranked players, and she's still relatively young. I mean, she's only, I think, 22, 23, and she's just firing up the rankings. So I would be surprised if she didn't at least get top 50, or maintain top 50 by the end of the year, and then I'd really hope to see her back here next year as one of our top seeds.
And you alluded to it slightly before as well around the standard of the week. If you were, to recap the tennis that you've seen, if spectators had turned up, they'd be relatively happy with the value for money they're getting.
100%. I mean, look, for me, the match of the week, one of the matches of the week was probably the Anne Lee versus Sloane Stephens match early on. We had some really other great matches with Sophia Kenin and Clara Towson. Those were not necessarily the biggest names in the draw, but the matchup just created some incredible tennis. So, look, I think watching tennis live and really up close like we're able to do at the ASB Classic is just an experience that is almost one that you don't get anywhere else, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know that the intimacy of the spectators and the players is a real feature. Just before you go, obviously we cross over now, or we start to cross over. Qualifying underway for the men's tournament with the round one main draw proper starting on Monday. I'm no doubt you've had a look at the men's draw. Are you excited about the tennis you'll see in the week ahead from the men?
Oh, 100%. I mean, look, every year we get some amazing surprises. This year we've got some really very, very strong young players coming to Auckland. Probably Giovanni and Pichi Perikara is one player who's just, he's incredible. He's beat Kyrgios, he's beat Tiafoe just this week alone in Brisbane. So to have a player like that coming to Auckland will just be really exciting. Personally, I'm looking forward to seeing Mike Tennis back in action in doubles. He's got a new partner, Nikola Mektic, who's performed really well here in the past. And then we've also got Marcus Daniel, who'll be hanging up his rackets at the end of this tournament. So there's plenty of Kiwis to support, and I'm sure there'll be some great tennis coming up. Brilliant to get your analysis, Sebastian. Thanks so much for joining us across New Zealand this afternoon. My pleasure. Thank you. No, thank you, Sebastian. Sebastian Lavie there. He's part of the Sky Sport coverage of the ASB Classic, both the women's and the men's tournament. The ASB Classic women's semis live on Sky Sport 1 and streaming on Sky Sport Now from just before 3 this afternoon. Sky Open will also have free-to-air live coverage of the first semi-final from 3 this afternoon.
For more from Weekend Sport with Jason Pine, listen live to News Talk ZB weekends from midday or follow the podcast on iHeartRadio.